ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So as I was telling, I welcome everybody to this Sunday afternoon for this program. How many of you received this particular flyer on your phones? Okay, almost everybody. So you know what is the topic we are going to discuss today. What is the topic? Breakfast? Done? Lunch what time, Prabhu? 1:30. So can it be a little louder? Okay, good. Otherwise speaker gets depressed. Okay. So for the next 1 hour or so, we'll have this presentation and probably we'll have some time for question answers. I think that will be good because we are meeting for the first time. How many of you are chanting 16 rounds here? 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day? Okay. How many of you are chanting more than 10 rounds every day? Okay. How many of you are chanting more than 4 rounds every day? Oh, very nice. Okay. Anybody here who is not chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra yet? Okay. So what I have done is I have made this presentation in such a way that this is going to apply to everybody to some extent, right? And therefore I hope and pray that by the end of this session, all of us are inspired to chant more and chant better, okay? As a result of our commitment to practicing Krishna consciousness. So let's begin with this topic without much delay. So home sweet home. All of us have heard this earlier, right? Home sweet home. You know, in shops, they typically sell those welcome boards and home sweet home boards and all that. So the moment you hear this phrase, home sweet home, what comes to your mind? Quickly raise your hand. We have less time. Raise your hands and speak fast. The moment you hear home sweet home, what comes to your mind? Yes, Prabhu? Home which is sweet, okay. But what does it mean? Yes, mother? Happiness, okay. Playing with kids and family and enjoying the time together. Okay, very nice. Yes, I will ask her. What's her name? Nitya. Yes, Nitya. Comfort. Comfort. Peaceful. Good food. Very important. Very important. Unfortunately, these days people are not constructing kitchen in their houses. Both husband and wife are working and Swiggy, Zomato, Zindabad. You know, that's what they are doing. And that's a reality. That's a reality. First, they stopped constructing puja room in the houses. Earlier, there used to be puja room. In fact, even earlier, not room. It used to be a big, courtyard kind of a thing, a temple hall in every house. Then slowly it reduced to puja room. Then it reduced to under the staircase. Now it has gone to, not now, earlier then it went to inside the cupboard. Now it's not there at all. Same is happening with kitchen now, these days, right? Any other ideas of home sweet home? Yes, Prabhu? Very important. Can we all clap for him? Loving people. And that's why it's not house, it is home. It's only people who will make home. Otherwise, house can be made by 4 walls also. Correct? Any other thing which got missed out? Yes, Mataji? Vibes? I misheard as wives. One wife only, but good vibes. Good vibes. Yes, Mataji, very important. Sense of belongingness, vibes, happiness, comfort. All of you spoke very well. So, and okay, so now next question. How many of us want our home to be sweet home? Everybody. Right? Everybody wants our home to be sweet home. So today we are going to see certain principles which are necessary for our home to become sweet home. Are we all excited for this topic? Shall we begin? If we, delay our prasadam by 10-15 minutes, will you all mind too much? Like, will you die by hunger or is it okay? Okay. Then let's see. I've just set the expectations, upfront. Okay. So, just like, we all are a combination of body, mind, and soul. We all know this. We are soul. I'm sure, okay, we all have done a basic course on Bhagavad Gita and all that, right? All of us have done that. So, in that, very loud and clear, we have understood that we are not this body, but we are soul, right? Though we are soul, can we ignore body and mind? We cannot, because that gives our functional identity in this world. The fact that we are soul is our constitutional identity. Okay, what does constitutional identity mean? Our very fundamental definition of our existence, and that is that we belong to spiritual world. We are part and parcel of God, and we are supposed to love and serve God. All of us have heard this in our past courses. That's all. That's why we are here. That's why we are all chanting. So that's our constitutional identity. Okay, that we are soul. But what is our functional identity in this world? That we are also in this, if not, we are not the body or mind, but we are at least in this body and mind. We have this body and we have this mind, correct? So therefore, for functioning in this world, we cannot neglect or ignore the fact that we are in this body and mind. Imagine if, let's say, today somebody is sick, God forbid, right? And one of our devotees are making a phone call. Are Prabhu, Mataji, what happened? Are you not coming to today's program? And she or he says, Prabhu, I'm very sick actually. And this person says, Are, forget sickness, you are not the body, you are soul, please come. Will that work? Will that work? It will not. We have to acknowledge that we are in this body and mind, and that is how we function in this world, which is also important. We cannot bypass it and directly talk of Krishna or going back to spiritual world, right? And therefore, how we use our body and mind in service of Krishna also becomes equally important. Okay? So just like we are a package of body, mind and soul, is this concept clear? That we are a package of body, mind and soul. Similarly, our home also has this equivalent of body, mind and soul. Okay. So what would you compare as the body of home? Analogy, the four walls, right? The four walls, the windows, the doors, the interiors of it, right? The cleanliness, the decorations. Sometimes males are good at it, sometimes females are good at it. Oh, we want to get this particular curtain, we want to get this kind of sofa, we want to have this kind of decoration. All that can be considered to be like the body of the home. Anybody who is not paying attention here? Okay, everybody is paying attention. All of you are able to see the slides, even those sitting here are able to see the slides, or am I coming in the way? It's okay? And all of you are able to hear me well? Any problem with the mic? I would request your 101% attention. Okay, that's very important to be able to catch the flow of the whole session. Okay, so the body of home can be considered to be the bricks and the walls and the interiors and the decorations and the cleanliness and things like that. What do you think can be considered analogous to the mind of the home? Or the vibes, as Mataji said, the comfort, the happiness, the loving relationships, correct? The emotional stability, the fact that you can go all over the world, but only when you come back to your home, you feel comfortable. That should happen. I mean, unfortunately, these days, it's not happening that way, unfortunately. And people like to stay out of their home because they hate going back to home. Because, the spouse will keep shouting, or the parents will keep shouting, or the children will keep crying, something or the other. So they want to typically run away. And therefore, I have seen people, personally myself, I've seen people who like to spend more and more time outside only with others. Is that fortunate or unfortunate? Unfortunate. And therefore, people are unhappy. Even if they can't get comfort and love at their home, which is the fundamental unit of society, right? What are we talking about? Something is wrong somewhere. We are going to discuss those things in today's session, right? So body was all these externals. Mind is like those relationships between family members, the environment of love, the atmosphere of love, the good vibes, the fact that I feel peaceful. Somebody said peaceful, right? Somebody said comfortable. All this can be considered analogous to mind. What would you say is the soul of the home? What would be the soul of home? Just like, see, what is the importance of soul in body? If soul goes out, what happens to body? Just falls flat, collapses, right? Life is because of soul. In the same way, what would you consider to be the soul of home? Yes, Mataji? Environment, okay, but I want little even more precise. Prayer, very close. Spiritual practices, very close. Can you be even more precise? Krishna. Huh? The fact that everybody is trying to practice Krishna consciousness, the fact that we have made Krishna as the center of our home is the soul of the home. If that is not there, it's just something going on which is like decoration of a dead body to some extent. Yes, some comfort may be there, some peace may be there, but that will only be temporary. Something will happen all of a sudden. Have you unfortunately, I mean, in some people's life, one incident and the life changes. You know, I know some relatives of mine, the wife stayed back at home, husband took his children and his brother's children to, you know, eat some ice cream or something outside on a bike. Met an accident. While standing on road, they met an accident. They parked the bike next to the ice cream parlor, and there was one drunkard who was driving a car. His bottle fell down, because of which in whatever hurry-burry, his feet pressed the accelerator instead of the brake, this drunkard, and this car dashed this bike and these people, and all of them died on the spot. What can happen to life? From anywhere, any direction, anytime, anything can happen, right? Now what happened to home sweet home? But if we make Krishna as the center of our home, then even though these things may happen, see, because ultimately in this material world, it's a dangerous place. It's not that once you become a devotee of Krishna, nothing wrong will happen to you. Don't have that wrong understanding. But even if something wrong happens, and we are going to see in this session today, we will first of all have the right understanding, and we will be able to take it positively. Of course, bad news can never be taken positively, right? But what it means is we'll be able to see it in the right perspective, and we'll not be shattered, and we'll know how to move on, right? So therefore, keeping Krishna at the center, which you all have done, probably I'm sure all of you here have made Krishna as the goal of your life. You feel that yes, there is something in Krishna consciousness because of which you are here. That's why you all have started chanting Hare Krishna, and those who have not yet will start chanting from today. Okay? So let's proceed with this. Once I came across this, a nice definition of what is best wealth. Okay, what can be considered as best wealth? What do you think can be considered as best wealth? Can money be considered as best wealth? Obviously not. I'm sure these days we all know that money is not everything. Especially after we earn some money, then we realize, right, that oh, it's not everything, something else has to be needed. And we can think of so many things, but just to make it a little faster, best wealth has following characteristics. First, it can never be stolen. If you have some wealth which somebody can steal from you, that's not real wealth. That was only external. That's not real wealth. Second, very important, income tax filing date is coming soon, near. So, the best wealth is that which cannot be taxed by government. That's the best wealth. Third, it cannot cause dispute among brothers, whether you are Ambanis or you are beggars, whatever it may be. It cannot cause dispute among brothers. It doesn't become a burden. You see, recently what happened? The tomato prices had increased some 5, 6, 7, 8 months back, remember? Tomato prices had increased like anything. I heard one news in newspaper, it came that one farmer, he made 4 crores in one day, right? And he got a lot of cash. Next morning, he was about to go to bank to deposit that, and he was murdered. Real story. I mean, even if you search in Google, probably you will find it. For farmer tomato murder, probably you will get it. It came in newspaper. What do you think? That farmer was fortunate or unfortunate? He got 4 crores. I mean, a farmer, because of tomato, it's like stock prices going high all of a sudden and you became a multimillionaire overnight. Something like that, right? That happened to this farmer. But unfortunately, it became a burden on him to such an extent that he could not even live anymore. Fifth, the more you spend, the more you get. If something has these 5 characteristics, that can be called as best wealth. If something has these 5 characteristics, That can be called as best wealth. Now, can you tell me what some examples of best wealth now? Gyan, knowledge, Krishna consciousness, and if you see, all these things will apply to that, right? So, therefore, I wanted to congratulate all of you. In fact, exactly. I wanted to congratulate all of you for embarking on this spiritual journey. I think 6 months, 1 year now, many of you, right, on this spiritual journey. Some may have been several years more, but it's a great step which you all have taken. And I have only one humble request and prayer that no matter what happens to your life, never ever stop coming to this association of devotees. That's very important. That connectivity is very important. Once I heard from one of my superiors, 5 formula in life, 5 things to always remember. 1, we should be physically fit. We should be physically, we should be mentally alert. Mentally, we should be socially respectable. Socially, we should be economically sound. Economically, and we should be spiritually connected. If we are not connected, we will think we are Valmiki, we will go do some big tapasya and all that, it will not work. Valmiki also fell down. Menka, some chan happened and he fell down. Right? So, for spiritual progress, what is the most important thing? Connection, association of devotees. So now that you have embarked on this spiritual journey, my dear friends, it's my humble request with folded hands to each one of you that whatever is covered in today's session or not, because everything cannot be covered in one session, right? And we have to take prasadam also at 1:30, right? So everything cannot be covered in one session. Now what to do? Continuity has to be maintained. And that continuity will happen only if we commit ourselves to coming together like this, right? So that you please do. Yet we will try to cover as much as possible in today's session. Okay, let's begin with some paradoxes of modern times. So now, this is how I have structured the presentation. For first 10 minutes, we are going to discuss about, now that you all have started practicing Krishna consciousness, why you have done so. And I would have ideally interacted as a workshop for 3-4 hours and all that, but we are not going to do that, don't worry. We are just going to just see some things, right? So that we recommit ourselves to what we are doing. Please understand, we are not practicing Krishna consciousness just out of some sentiments. We are not practicing Krishna consciousness just out of some blind faith. Yeah, these people are nice, they are saying something, okay, let's follow. Or because anyway I have nothing else to do in life, so let me do this. Or anyway, whole day I am free, so therefore let me do this. That's not why we are here. All of us are busy, all of us have many things to do, yet we are taking out time to come here. So therefore, it's important to remind ourselves time and again that why we are practicing Krishna consciousness, why we are chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. So for 10 minutes, very quickly, let's see that. Let's revise that, right? To recommit ourselves. First of all, we see some paradoxes of modern times. We see bigger houses, but we see more medicines, but we see more comforts, but correct? I don't want to get into explanation of these. I'm sure we are all able to relate to it, correct? We have more comforts, so we are saving time. Earlier, people would walk so many kilometers to get some water. Today, you just open the tap and you get water. So much time saved, yet nobody has time for each other. Paradox, right? Like that, we can discuss about everything. Okay. Some more things. Earlier, we used to say outside house, they would write Atithi Devo Bhava. Anybody knows what it means? Do your children know what it means? So what home sweet home? Nobody talked about. Somebody talked about children. Who said about children? Play with children. Yeah, good, Prabhu. Good. See, home sweet home cannot be there unless you are giving right training to children also. We'll see those things as we go forward, right? So it's not enough for us to know something. I have met children who don't know Ram. And you know what? If you don't tell them, then they will read from their friends and they will hear from some other sources, they'll read other books and they'll consider Ravan to be bigger hero than Ram. There are such people. Now we don't have time to get into all details right now, but there are people in today's world who consider Ravan to be hero and Ram to be villain. And it will not be too late before you will realize, that your children are also a party to it. Okay, so therefore we cannot become a householder or a grahastha just by marrying and staying in a home and that's it. No, we have a great responsibility on our shoulders to pass on whatever is sacred to us. Are we passing on those values, knowledge and skills to the next generation? So you know Atiti Devo Bhava, they don't know, and this is wrong. This is wrong. You have to tell them, you have to show them. Is telling enough? No. You have to show also. So soon this program should happen in somebody's house. Don't get scared about, I mean, that's not the plan, but why not? And this happens. Like, you know, few days back, I was in the house of HG Prabhu. We were having a nice house program there. Then his children are seeing, oh, Atiti Devo Bhava. We invite guests to our home, we serve them, and we are happily together. Another aspect of home sweet home, right? Anyway, let's come back to the point. So, Atiti Devo Bhava we used to say earlier. You know what they say in front of house today? Wait, even though there is no dog inside, then also they'll write this. Why? Nobody should, you know, even think of coming inside. We are too busy. Or, this was the height of it. I saw one doormat which said this. Tum fir tapak pade. Those of you who don't know Hindi, it means you came again, get lost. Something like that. Just imagine, right? Earlier, you know, people used to wear gold ornaments. Now they are wearing imitation jewelry. Earlier, they used to eat in nice brass and all that, you know, utensils. Today, we are eating in aluminum and steel and plastic and all that. Earlier, we used to call Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. How many of you know about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam? Do your children know? So important. And if you stay connected, you will come to know what is to be done with children also. Krishna consciousness, please understand, my dear friends. Krishna consciousness is not one-sided. Krishna consciousness includes and surpasses everything else. Please remember this statement. Note it down somewhere. Krishna consciousness includes and surpasses everything else. You can become a better father, better mother, better student, better son, better daughter, better doctor, better engineer, better scientist, better citizen if you are a devotee of Krishna. It's not like, oh, you are a devotee of Krishna and you are least bothered with everything else. To hell with my wife, to hell with my husband, to hell with my children. I saw my son last 2-3 days back. He was lying in a gutter. Now I don't know where is he. I am happy practicing Krishna consciousness, chanting Hare Krishna. That's not Krishna consciousness. So we have to have a right understanding. And when we do that, then you will really get full benefits of coming here and full benefits of practicing Krishna consciousness. So earlier we used to say Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Now we say Chota Parivar, Sukhi Parivar. That also is not Sukhi. The father, mother are fighting every day and children are wondering what is to be done. Right? Nitya is taking a photo of this. Nitya, right? You said? Nitya, na? No, it's okay. You can take, no problem. Okay. Earlier we used to say Santosham Param Sukham. What does that mean? Santosham Param Sukham? Satisfaction is bliss. Do your children know that? If you do not, again, I cannot overemphasize this. If you do not play an active role in your children's upbringing, then please note somebody else is. And then it will be too late before you realize, my son is like this, my daughter is like this. Did you do your part? So earlier we used to say Santosham Param Sukham. Today we say Ye Dil Mange More. And that's the reality of this civilization. Earlier things were used and people were loved. Things were used and people were loved. Today, things are loved. You know, a son or a daughter's mobile phone is more dear to that person than his mother or father. That's a dark reality of today's world. And all of this because of that soul not being there. It's that body basically. Somehow they are living, somehow surviving like cats and dogs. Everybody is unhappy, smiling faces, crying hearts. But if we practice Krishna consciousness nicely and maturely, then we will see it will actually become home sweet home. Because Krishna consciousness is very broad. And it actually gives you all-round prosperity. Once one of my seniors told, that a grahastha, if you see a smile in a grahastha's face, that means he is doing all his duties very nicely. Otherwise, everybody is frustrated. All the more a householder. We'll see more details about who a householder is. By the way, when I'm saying grahastha, everybody understands, right? What is a grahastha? See, just like every unmarried person is not a brahmachari. I mean, he is a bachelor, right? But just because you are unmarried doesn't make you a brahmachari. Brahmachari means, he is like he has made spirituality as his goal of life. He is on the path of Brahma Gyan. So just like every unmarried person is not a brahmachari, at best he can be a bachelor. But you need to keep spirituality as the focus, then you become a brahmachari. Similarly, every married person or every householder is not a grahastha. It is called as grahastha ashram. So we are going to understand in today's session also that what can make our home as ashram. That would add even more colors to our home, sweet home. That would actually be the soul of home. Are you all with me? You are understanding what we are discussing, right? So our home is not just going to be a home, it should become an ashram. That's what we say. We see in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Chaturvarna Maya Shashtam Gunakarma Vivakshas. That's about Varna, but similarly he talks about ashram. There is Brahmachari ashram, Grahastha ashram, Vanprastha ashram and Sannyas ashram. All four are ashram, including the householder Grahastha ashram. But just like every unmarried person is a bachelor but not a brahmachari, similarly every householder doesn't by default become a grihastha. He is in general a grahamedhi. Shastras talk about it. When do you become a grihastha, or when are you staying in a grihastha ashram? When you have made God, spirituality, prayer and all these other principles as the core principles of your home. Then it becomes an ashram. And then, my dear friends, I'll tell you, life becomes really, really wonderful. Life becomes really wonderful. Life without net. Everybody had time for each other. Everybody was doing their respective roles in the family nicely. And life after net, even if people come together and sit for dinner, in a rare occurrence. These days, people don't take food together. Maybe they can watch a cricket match together, T20 final, right? Or they can come for it, if at all, they can come for dinner together, but everybody is looking at their mobile phones. Have you all experienced this? If yes, please raise your hands. It's true, right? No, we are not that happy experiencing it, but it's a sad state of affairs. It's a sorry state of affairs. Now, what will happen to children if this is what they grow up with, if this is what they see? And unfortunately, many people don't realize they are only acting like goats and sheep, just being taken in a wrong direction by some foolish people, some foolish intelligent people. Please remember this another point. 2% people in this world are wise. How many are wise? And 98% are otherwise. Like that. Now you decide which category you want to be in. Do you want to live life according to what you consider sacred, or do you want to live life as a puppet in the hands of others? That others are remote controlling your children. Others are remote controlling the peace of your life. What home sweet home then? You are just making Ambani richer. You are just making all these corporates richer. I mean, nothing against Ambani. I'm just saying that you are just making all the corporates richer. That's it. And then you are having one servant for ironing, one servant for making you wear clothes, one servant for making you take out clothes, one servant for preparing food, one servant for taking son to somewhere, one servant for this teacher, one tuition for this teacher. I have no time for my family because it's all money centric. So we are good at delegating. I'll give money and get some. Everything cannot be outsourced. Can you outsource upbringing of your child? What are you doing in life then? Where are we? Where are we heading? Many of us innocently, ignorantly, we keep doing this until we realize it's too late. Let's not do that. And another symptom we see in today's world, consumerism. We buy things we do not need with money we do not have to impress those whom we hate. It's a fact. This is consumerism. We buy things we don't need with money we don't have, loans and EMIs and all that, and to impress those whom we hate. My neighbor got one big car, so I'll also buy a big car. Otherwise, what will others think? That means no substance, no soul. Then what will be home sweet home? Nothing. People will only be crying, fighting, morning to night, foaming at mouth, and die miserably. So, now that we have started practicing Krishna consciousness, it all of a sudden makes life meaningful. Not only in one dimension, spirituality, but also in other dimensions. That's why I said Krishna consciousness includes and surpasses everything else. Krishna consciousness just doesn't take care of your soul. Please be convinced of this. Krishna consciousness takes care of your body also and mind also. It's not just only for soul. Yes, it is the ultimate thing for the soul. But it is so beautiful because it is coming from top, because it is coming from the Shastras, because it is coming from Krishna, and because it is rooted in absolute reality. Therefore, it will do ultimate good all around. We have to be convinced of that. As I said, we will become better doctor, better scientist, better father, better son, better mother, better husband, better wife, better mother-in-law, better daughter-in-law, better citizen of the country. Everything better if we are keeping God in the center. And that was Ram Rajya. It's not that in Ram Rajya everybody was only concerned about Ram and wife was in one gutter, son was in another gutter, husband was going for doing tapasya and chanting Ram Ram. No. Everybody was chanting Ram Ram. And everything was happening perfectly because Krishna consciousness includes and surpasses everything else. So it gives a meaning to life. It enlightens and empowers us to make right choices. What are we doing in this section? We are revising why we are practicing Krishna consciousness, why we are coming here every Sunday, why we are chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Are we fools that we are spending such precious time of our life in doing such nonsense things? No. We understand it. Oh, this is what it is. This is the best and the highest, right? Enlightens and empowers to make right choices. It helps us deal with challenges of life, as I was talking about. And ultimately, we come to know from the Shastras that inherently this world is a place of sufferings. No matter what you do, how hard you try, at the end of the day, you will only be frustrated. That's the way of this world. That's how the world has been designed. That's how this world has been designed. So we are like tied to sufferings in this world. Let's say everything is going on fine in your life. God forbid, one day, all of a sudden something will happen and things will change. Nothing is permanent. Everything changes. Bad times also change. Good times also change. And that's what disturbs us. That's what doesn't make us peaceful. Some of you said home sweet home. The most important thing is to be peaceful. You cannot be peaceful if you are taking shelter of something temporary. You can be peaceful only when you take shelter of something permanent. What is permanent? Krishna and things related to Krishna. Activities related to Krishna. Hare Krishna Mahamantra, devotees, Bhagavatam, scriptures. These are permanent. To the extent we are rooted or hooked to these permanent things, to that extent we will be comfortable and peaceful. Otherwise, without this, no matter how hard we try to be comfortable and peaceful, we will not be. Is this point clear? Because that's how this world has been designed. So we are tied, we are married to sufferings actually. Some people think the name of the movie of life is Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gham. They say, Arey Prabhu, why you are so much hell, so much fighting on the case of sufferings? There are happiness also in this world, right? So it's Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gham. They are wrong. The name of this movie is not Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gham. The name of this movie is Kabhi Khushi Aksar Gham. Hamesha bahut zyada ho gaya Prabhu. ठीक है, Aksar Gham I would say. Right? And that's the reality of this world. Again, this can be another seminar in itself, but I don't want to distract right now, deviate right now with this. But please understand, that's a fact. Just a quick example. Let's say, as a family, we all wanted to go on a vacation. Children's exams got over. They are eagerly looking forward to go on a vacation. The husband and wife, whoever are working, they also have kind of wind up their office work in such a way that, okay, next week there will be no tension. Let's say everything is all right. And the whole family is now very excited and enthusiastic to go on a vacation. Right? And as soon as you step out, let's say your son's foot gets prickled with a thorn. Or let's say he gets a fracture because, while climbing down the stairs, he was so excited, he fell down and there was a fracture and whole trip cancelled. It's very common. One small thing is enough to spoil everything. That's why Kabhi Khushi Aksar Gham. That's actually the reality. Okay, I'll cut this short. But this was another interesting thing. But so also in the ultimate state of affairs, we understand this cycle of birth and death. See, this life is not all in all. We are being forced to repeatedly take birth and repeatedly die. Therefore, Shankaracharya says this. Please repeat after me. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jatare shayanam, iha sansare bahudushtare, kripya pari pahe murare. Shankaracharya is saying, Punarapi jananam. Again and again I am being made to take birth. Punarapi maranam. Again and again I am being forced to die. Punarapi janani jatare shayanam. Again and again I take birth in womb of one mother to another mother to another mother. Cockroach mother, lizard mother, plant mother, tree mother, goat mother, human mother, like that. Punarapi janani jatare. Iha sansare bahudushtare. This material existence is very, very difficult. Kripya pari pahe murare. Shankaracharya is praying to Krishna. Murari. to please have mercy. So this is the ultimate reality which we should be aware of. And therefore, it gives us more and more motivation to continue practicing Krishna consciousness nicely. And also there is one nice thing. Ananta Shastram Bahulashcha Vidya Alpascha Kalo Bahuvignatacha Yatsara Bhutam Tadupasaniyam Hanso Yatha Shiramivam Bhubadhyat. What it means is, Ananta Shastram, there are many scriptures. Bahulashcha Vidya, and there are a lot of knowledge and skills to be acquired. Alpascha Kalo Bahuvignatacha. But we have very less time. See, please appreciate this shloka. This says there is a lot of shastras, lot of knowledge and skills to be acquired, but we have very limited time, plus bahuvignatacha and lot of obstacles. So, kya karne ka? Yat sara bhutam. So, what is the essence of everything? Yat sara bhutam tad upasaniyam. What is the essence of everything? To worship Shri Krishna. Hanso yatha shira mivambu vadhya. Just like the swan can separate milk with water and only take the essence. Similarly, great people, even though they will have so many shastras, so many knowledge, so many skills and so many things, because they understand time is limited, they are expert to take the essence. And what is the essence? Tad upasaniyam, to worship and serve and love Shri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And when we do that, what happens when we do that? Just like I said, Krishna consciousness includes and surpasses everything else. Also think of it like to be a main switch. See, let's say we all have gone out on a Sunday evening for something. So we all switch off all the lights. But in general, if in hotels and all, typically you see, we just switch off the main switch. We don't bother to switch off each and every small light. We just switch off the main switch, right? Now let's say after 2-3 hours we come back, pitch dark. You just switch on the main switch and everything gets lightened up everywhere simultaneously, correct? Similarly, Krishna is like that main switch. If you turn on that main switch of Krishna in your life, everything and everyone simultaneously gets enlightened. And that is a very, very fundamental requirement to have a home to be sweet home. Unless the main switch is off, it will be inherently dark. It will not be sweet. And that's why it holds the key to the real happiness, which you know of. Greatest treasure is awaiting us, and our acharyas say, Srila Prabhupada says that results are guaranteed. Okay? So if we practice Krishna consciousness nicely, then we will actually get that ultimate happiness we are looking for. We will actually make our home sweet home. And therefore, we should make sure that without compromise, we keep practicing Krishna consciousness, which for now it means that every Sunday we come here and whatever commitment we have made of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 6, 6 to 8, whoever is chanting however many rounds, we want to increase as a commitment to Krishna. We should continue doing that, right? So that was the motivation we discussed. Let's move to the next part of the presentation. Just to remind ourselves again, the height of our greatest fortune. That it's not that we will get this opportunity again and again. As I said, for spirituality, the most important thing is to be connected. Let's revise. Let's see who all remembers. Physically, mentally, economically, socially, and spiritually connected. Okay. So if we are not connected, then we will lose this great fortune. And many times we take this cheaply. Many times we think, kya hai? See, none of us were like we were looking for absolute truth. We were, we had gone to Himalayas in search of God. How many of you had gone to Himalayas in search of God? Okay, nobody at least here. We did not go to Himalayas in search of God. We were doing our businesses, jobs nicely, and somebody came to us, please come to this Gita course. Please come, and then we came. Correct? So therefore, it may happen that we may take it cheaply. But this slide is to make sure that we never ever, even our dreams, we take it cheaply. So let's understand what is the reality of what we have got, our greatest fortune. First of all, human birth. Now, I'll not get into explanation of each one of them, because that again can take a lot of time, but I'm just trying to count or enumerate our greatest fortune. Everything in itself is very rare. Now, those of you who know probability, you know probability? In maths, there is a concept called probability. So let's say something is some event is of probability 0.1. Out of 1, 0 to 1 में कितना probability है? 0.1. And one more event का probability है 0.1. तो दोनों साथ में होने का, both events together होने का probability कितना होगा? 0.1 into 0.1, which is 0.01. मतलब in simple terms, For two rare things to happen together, the probability of that is even rarer than each individual thing. Are you getting what I'm saying? सोचो कोई एक रेयर चीज है बहुत ही दुर्लभ, और एक और कोई रेयर चीज है बहुत ही दुर्लभ, और दोनों दुर्लभ चीज एक साथ हो जाए. If both दुर्लभ things or rare things happen together, that is even more दुर्लभ. That is सुदुर्लभ. Now here we will not see two things, we will see many things like that. Human birth, birth in this earthly planetary system, birth in Bharat, birth in Kali Yuga, birth in this 10,000 years, which is the golden period of Kali Yuga, then desire to do something better in life, desire to attain a higher goal. All comforts at our disposal. See, that's also beauty right now. Imagine if we were born in some age wherein even to drink water we had to go 2-3 kilometers. Right now, life is not that tough. Life is very easy that way in terms of comforts. If only we can use it to practice Krishna consciousness nicely, then we are doing like Sone Pe Suhaga, like icing on the cake. Right? All comforts at our disposal. We have got connected to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I don't know if you have already heard of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or not, but if not, you will soon hear about him. We all have got connected to Srila Prabhupada, and we all have got a shelter of a bona fide guru in the form of Srila Prabhupada. So there are many, many rare things which have happened all together. Now you may understand it right now, or you may not understand it. But please take it from me that please don't take this cheaply. If you take this cheaply, you will lose it cheaply. Please understand that this is very, very rare fortune which we have got, and therefore let's make sure that our most important duty of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, whatever number of rounds you are chanting, please chant that every day. That's very, very important. And please read Srila Prabhupada books or other books which your facilitators must be telling you about. Okay. So, yeah. Now I come to the next part of the presentation, which is more about householders. Okay, but is this premise clear to everybody? What is the first part we talked about? We talked about revising our commitment or motivation to practicing Krishna consciousness, and understanding that why it is not just a sentiment, or something, oh, we are doing it very casually. No, we understand the importance of it, all-round importance of it, for body, for mind, for soul, for home, for family, for society, for everything. And therefore, we should never ever forget to do this every day nicely, chanting Hare Krishna or regularly coming with devotees. One important aspect of practicing Krishna consciousness is to do our duties nicely, right? And that's where for householders, things become very, very complicated at times, because always this question comes, Prabhu, how do we balance? We are householders, so we have wife, we have husband, we have children, we have mother, father, we have in-laws. So many things are there in that how to practice Krishna consciousness. So in the next part of the presentation, we are going to just quickly discuss some aspects about that. So we all know charity begins at home, right? So if our house is disturbed, if our home is disturbed, if we are not having a nice, loving, whatever sweet home things we talked about in the beginning, then do you think we'll be able to practice Krishna consciousness nicely? Let's say there is fire in the house and I'm sitting and chanting Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Can you do that? Difficult, impossible almost, right? So therefore it becomes important to also set right some things at home. And for that it is important to take Krishna consciousness in a mature way, not in a one-sided way. I have seen many people making a mistake. In the name of Krishna consciousness, they go overboard immaturely and they start spoiling some things at their home. Some things come at the cost of time with their children, some things come at the cost of time with their spouse, some things come at the cost of their duties, right? But we can do both together, and that's what we are going to see. What is this? This is a householder. This is a householder. Imagine in today's world, I am sure all of you will agree, some of you are even more experienced than me in this material world. In this world, if somebody can just somehow maintain their family properly, getting some food to eat, water to drink, and basic necessities being fulfilled, wife is not running away, husband is not running away, children are not running away, somehow they are staying together. That itself is a big achievement. Things have got so degraded in today's world, and if you are not realizing, you have to meet more people to understand. That's actually a fact. Maybe in your homes, thankfully it's not there, because to some extent or the other you may have values in your home. To some extent or the other you may have God in your home. Even before coming to Krishna consciousness. Now that you have come to Krishna consciousness, you know even better ways of doing it. And even a more accurate way and more precise way of doing it. and a more knowledgeable way of doing it. Earlier, probably we were doing out of sentiments, but to some extent or the other, anybody's house, if is in order, it's because of some values, because of some spirituality, because of some prayers and things like that. We know a family which prays together, stays together and things like that. But the reality of today's world is that even if people can somehow manage to stay together under one roof and they are able to earn some money to maintain their livelihood, is a big achievement and requires a lot of struggle. I was in Bombay for some 5-6 years. I have seen in Bombay there are many people who go to office at 6 a.m. in the morning. Children are sleeping. 6 a.m. I mean, children wake up by 6 or something, they get ready and go to school by 7:38, right? So children are sleeping. While they are sleeping, only this person goes out to earn money. 6 o'clock, staying in North Bombay, Thane, Mira Road, that side. So to beat the local train traffic and all that, travels to South Bombay. Okay, 6 a.m. in the morning. I'm not exaggerating. It's a reality. Works there hard whole day, leaves to beat the traffic, leaves at 10 o'clock or something, comes back home by 11. Children are asleep, next day school. So sometimes children, Saturday, Sunday, they see their father. And their mother, who is he? Arey beta, tora papa hai. And believe me, I mean, with due respect to us, that's the circumstances. That's the struggle in this material world. And and that too when somebody wants to do things nicely. जो कुछ नहीं करना चाहता, they can just sit and relax and enjoy. But those who want to do all duties nicely, they have to take more trouble on their head, right? ये भी कॉम्प्रोमाइज ना हो, ये भी कॉम्प्रोमाइज ना हो, मैं अपने माता पिता का भी टेक केयर करूं, अपने वाइफ का भी टेक केयर करूं, अपने पति का भी टेक केयर करूं, then they have to take all that burden. So that itself is a big burden. On top of it, now we are talking about chanting Hare Krishna. We are talking about coming to every Sunday here. Matlab, it is a miracle actually from outside world's perspective. They are barely able to just somehow keep their body and soul together. And we are also able to do this because if you give time to Krishna, your time will increase. In lesser time, you will be able to do more things. Please be convinced of this. Please be convinced of this, that if you give time to Krishna, because he is the absolute truth, because he is everything, your time will increase. And you will be able to do more in less time. See, Sachin Tendulkar became Tendulkar in 24 hours. I mean, he also had 24 hours day. Brahma also has 24 hours day. Ambani also has 24 hours day. Dhoni also became Dhoni in 24 hours day only. We also have 24 hours day only. ऐसा नहीं, life is unfair. And you have got 20 hours. थोड़ा छूट गया, 4 घंटे कम मिला, ऐसा नहीं है. Right? It's all about what are our priorities. And if we make Krishna our priority, please be convinced, my dear friends, that Krishna is the ultimate CEO, controller, enjoyer, and owner. And if you are trying to serve him and love him, then nothing will fall short. That we have to be convinced of. But anyway, the reality is that life is hard, and there are a lot of things to be balanced. And actually, this is what happens to a poor householder. But then, there are some things with which we can actually lead a very happy and peaceful life. And we should understand how to balance. There are so many things for a householder to balance. There is spouse, wife for husband, husband for wife. There are children. There are parents and extended family. There is health. At the end of the day, all of us have health concerns these days. There is work. There are friends, relatives, society. We have duties towards them as well. Like you cannot shut your doors and disconnect yourself from all of these things. Then there is your own sadhana of chanting Hare Krishna, of reading scriptures, of coming to temple. Then we have our services, which I'll come to. So, eventually we should also take up some services. We should not live life only for our sake. Like for example, I don't know, when you come here, who spreads these chatais? Initially, some facilitators or some volunteers do that. But gradually, some participants get inspired that, I will also serve. I'll also help these volunteers do something. So somebody comes and sets up the sound system. Somebody comes and sets up the chatais. Somebody will help in serving prasadam. Right? All these kind of services we should be doing. Because we should not live only for ourselves. We should live for the sake of others. And then there is an association of devotees. We need time for all of these things. Then there is Swadhyay. We need to read books. Prabhupada books, nice spiritual books we should read. So we have so many things to balance. Now we are going to see some very, very important things in whatever 10-15 minutes we can see, which are bases. We will not get into details of each and every of these, but we will see some very important things. If we do that right, then several things will be right. How many husband and wives are sitting together here? Okay, others are only wives or only husbands, and others are only bachelors, something like that, right? Okay, but let me tell you, those of you who are both husband and wife are here are very fortunate. That way the car of the family will go nicely. Both tires are working well, both wheels are working well, right? So that's the first thing I wanted to emphasize, the husband and wife partnership. And even those husbands whose wife is not here, you can understand some important principles with which things can become better. And even those wives whose husbands are not here can understand some principles with which things can improve. So for a happy, stable family life, things begin with husband and wife partnership. That's very important. If the husband and wife are in tune, and if they are like good team members, then half of the battle is won. That's a very important thing. And therefore, those of you who are not, those who are already married, you can't rethink and go back to your decisions. But those who are not married, please choose your spouse wisely. Very important, very important. So coming to relationships, and this is not just about husband and wife, this is about all relationships. What do you see is wrong with the first chair on the left? What is wrong with the first chair on the left? Acha, is the chair strong? Chair is very strong. वो iron और wood का बना है वो chair. The chair is made of iron and wood. But is the chair stable? Okay, second case. Is the chair strong? पेपर का चेयर है. You sit up, बैठ जाए. मतलब sit भी नहीं करना पड़ेगा, ऐसा करना पड़ेगा. Paper chair. But is it stable? 4 legs. So एक होता है strength, एक होता है stability. Strength कहाँ से मिलेगा मालूम है? हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम राम. The more we do our sadhana nicely, the more we connect ourselves to God. He is the ultimate powerful. The more we connect ourselves to Him, the more strength we will get. यहाँ से strength मिलेगा, ठीक है? लेकिन यहाँ से strength मिल रहा है, लेकिन family में सब कुरुक्षेत्र है, महाभारत का लड़ाई है. As soon as you go home, a lot of noise and fight is there. तो stability नहीं रहेगा. Like today you will chant Hare Krishna, tomorrow you will say अरे क्या Hare Krishna, but मेरा वहाँ पे आग लगा है, मैं Hare Krishna कर रहा है. Like that you will say. सच में it's a fact. So इसलिए दोनों जरूरी है. और वो stability कहाँ से आता है? Happy, loving, warm relationships से आता है. So therefore that's also very important. And each one of us have to do our part in those relationships. If both are coming here, then it becomes easy. If only one is coming here, then also it's possible if we do the right thing. So relationships are the basis of happiness. That's actually a fact, because we are spirit souls. So now some sutras, very important sutra. Chanakya Pandit has written this nice shloka. It says, Mata yasya grihe nasti, bharya chapriya vadini, aranyam tena gantavyam, yatharanyam tatha griham. You know what it means? Chanakya Pandit is telling to all husbands. He is telling to all husbands कि अगर आपके घर में, in your house, if you don't have an affectionate mother, and if you don't have a sweet spoken wife, कैसी wife? जोर से बोलिए, ऐसा शर्माना क्यों? Sweet spoken wife. माता यस्य गृहे नास्ति भार्या च प्रियवादिनी. कैसी भार्या? प्रियवादिनी, स्वीट स्पोकन. तो चाणक्य पंडित बोलते हैं तो आपको जंगल चले जाना चाहिए. Then you should go to forest. Why? Because आपका घर वैसे ही forest है. Anyway, your house is like a forest only. Better you go to forest, right? So this is very important, So females actually can play a very important role in any house. That's actually very important. Now in modern civilization, so many other things are happening and all that, and people will see the consequences of that, right? But if things happen nicely, if both husband and wife see, it's not about inferior or superior here. That's the mistake which people have done in the Middle Ages, because of which the pendulum always go from one direction to another direction. Same happened with Hindu-Muslim also. Initially Hindus were oppressing and suppressing Muslims, and then it turned around, and then Muslims started oppressing Hindus. Same happened with male and female also. All that is wrong. The Shastras tell how females are supposed to be worshipped. Actually, females are supposed to be the most respectable elements of the society. Females, elderly people and children, they are supposed to be the most respectable in the society and all that. But men, they did not like it, and they took it in the other way, and they started showing their superiority. because of these kind of shlokas or things like, okay, the wife should serve the husband and things like that. And that's where things all went wrong. The simple understanding is this. Just like there is a table and a chair, which is superior? Table is table, chair is chair. There's nothing like superior, inferior. But table should do table's job, chair should do chair's job. Right? Everybody has a role to play. And nature has given us some strengths and weaknesses. Nature has given each one of us some strengths and weaknesses. Right? And these duties which are prescribed in Shastras are according to our strengths. Like, just to give you a simple example. If you see a female in the morning, she will have to do so many things. In general, in a typical household, cooking has to be done, then for children, breakfast, lunch, and then something to eat right now, something to pack, then husband, and sometimes she also has to go to job, right? Then also she is the one who is working harder, double harder. Husband may have watched a cricket match at night and is waking up late maybe, right? And then so many hundreds of things they are doing together, and yet they are able to maintain their calm. In general, to a large extent, they are able to handle different things because they are expert at multitasking. And then उसमें बच्चा भी रो रहा है तो उसके पास जाके उसको भी जो भी नीडफुल करना है कर दे रहे हैं. That's a strength which females have got. On the other hand, अगर मेल के साथ ऐसा हो जाएगा, कुछ कर रहा है, बिजी हो रहा है, बच्चा रो रहा है, तो बच्चा को एक मार के आ जाएगा. You see, so nature has its own, nature has given strengths and weaknesses to us, and therefore when we play those roles according to our strengths, the home and family becomes very stable and very happy, and everybody is very nourished, and comfortable. And you see, there is this shloka also by Chanakya Pandit, wherein he says, Murkha yatra na pujyante dhanyam yatra susanchitam dampatyo kalo nasti tatra Sri swayam agataha. Wherever there is no fight between husband and wife, Shri, that means the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi herself comes. You don't even have to invite. And these fights are a root cause of all problems, when there is no mutual understanding and things like that. Yeah. That's what I was talking about. So the ladies have to be very happy, and then things will be very stable. So Prabhupada said, so this marriage ceremony is not for sense gratification. We should always remember, it is helping one another. The husband will help the wife will help the husband, so that both of them become advanced in Krishna consciousness and make their human life perfect. That was the ideal married life. Unfortunately, today people get married without even understanding what is marriage or what is married life. Yeah, so I'll just quickly bypass those things. But anyway, the first principle which I was talking about was the relationships which actually begin with husband-wife relationship. You will see in any house where the husband and wife relationship is very good and cordial, and they are like a team. Yeah, fights will be there. See, don't misunderstand. In fact, in husband and wife, fight has to be there. If there is no fight between husband and wife, then something is wrong. Then a cold war is going on probably. I've seen some husbands and wives, some of my counsellors, they say that, Prabhuji, I'm not talking to my wife since 7 days now. I said, what? And the wife is also proudly saying, Prabhuji, I'm not talking since 1 month. I said, what is going on? So that's not good, right? So fight should be there, fights can be there, but it is said that fight between husband and wife should be like two goats fighting. Have you seen two goats fighting? Let's say they are getting bored. Okay? कुछ करने को नहीं है, बोर हो रहे हैं, क्या करें, चल थोड़ा झगड़ा करते हैं, पट, and like that. And somebody comes and says, hut, okay, then normal हो जाते हैं. So it is said, there's one shloka, I don't remember that shloka, but the shloka says that fight between husband and wife should be like fighting of two goats. मतलब ठीक है, it can happen without reason, but it should end also just like that. ऐसा नहीं कि fight हो गया, अभी सुबह का शाम तक चल रहा है, शाम का अगले दिन चल रहा है, उसके अगले दिन का और बढ़ गया, और family members आ गए, और बढ़ गया, divorce. That is not good. बस इतना होना चाहिए, हो गया, लेकिन फिर वापस नॉर्मल हो गए, भूल गए, अब अपना जा रहे हैं, So some children get confused. क्या लोग हैं ये लोग? In a good family, typically children get confused. ये दोनों लड़ते भी कुत्ता बिल्ली जैसा, लेकिन next moment ठीक हो जाते हैं. That is good. That is happy family. No problem. That is happy family. See, because fight will be there because two people are different. That too, man and woman. See, any two people are different, and therefore there will be differences. And differences means fight can be there. Fight means difference of opinion. Now, when two people are, one is man and one is woman, then it's like takes things to the next level, because men are from Mars and women are from Venus. It's a fact. ये मजाक नहीं है. इसका भी एक अलग सेमिनार होता है, वो सब करेंगे कभी बाद में, But it's a fact. So it's natural. But then it should not go to heart. Fight should not go to heart, and fight should not make scars. दिल नहीं टूटना चाहिए, scars नहीं होने चाहिए. Then it should be all right, like that. So that is one. And then of course it begins with husband and wife relationship, but that sweetness should be spread in the entire home. All family members doing our duties nicely. So that is one element. The second important element is about upbringing the child, which I was telling. That how we have to pass on. In fact, it is said that if we have received one, we should pass on 1.5. Like हमेशा बढ़ा के देना चाहिए. Like when we pass on something to the next generation, जैसे let's say you go to purchase milk, पैकेट वाला मिल्क नहीं, जैसे दूध वाला मिल्क, वो जो ऐसा मेजर करके ऐसा बाल्टी में डालता है ना, दैट वाला मिल्क मैन. तो वो क्या करेगा? टिपिकली ट्रेडिशनली इफ लेट्स से यू हैव टू परचेज 1 लीटर, तो वो 500 ml एक मेजर करेगा, 500 ml एक मेजर करेगा और थोड़ा सा और लेके डालता है. हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू हैव सीन दैट इन जनरल? लेट्स से यू गो टू अ गुड धनिया वाला, सब्जी वाला, वेजिटेबल वाला, तो आपने मांगा थोड़ा 1 किलो भिंडी समथिंग, तो वो डालेगा थोड़ा 1-2 और डाल देगा. यू हैव सीन दैट? गुड पीपल टिपिकली डू दैट. यू नो व्हाई दे डू दैट? बिकॉज ही इज टेकिंग मनी फॉर 500 grams. उसमें गलती से कम अगर रह गया ना तो उसको कर्मा लगेगा. He will have to take one bird to repay that. See, because life balances everything. कोई किसी का लेके नहीं जाएगा, कोई किसी का दे के नहीं जाएगा. You are getting what I am trying to say? And these are realities. If even unknowingly, even if by mistake, आपने किसी का हक मारा है, मतलब you know somebody gave you 500 rupees, so that in return you were supposed to give this, but instead of that you gave little less, तो वो ड्यू रह गया आपके ऊपर. Are you getting it? Now either in this life or in next life or in some future life, you will have to repay that due in some way or the other. Law of karma. And earlier people were very aware of these things, and therefore they would rather make mistake on the other side. मतलब आप थोड़ा ज्यादा ही ले लो, कम नहीं होना चाहिए. You understand what I'm saying? That was culture. That was culture. Same way, when we are passing on things to the next generation, we have to pass on more than what we had got, not less than what we had got. So that's very important. So this parenting is modern. We have to become a smart parent. SMART. S means service. Parenting is a service. We should not try to see it as a burden. अरे समाओ खाना खाने में झंझट कर रहे हैं तो उसको मोबाइल पकड़ा दिया. Big violence you are doing to your children if you are doing that. For some it may already be too late. For some you may probably rectify. Right? Are the biggest of the CEOs in the Silicon Valley, they are keeping their children away from the screens and the gadgets, because brain का है ना पूरा एकदम कचूमर निकल जाता है if you are exposing to screens from early on. Brain will lose its ability to think and analyze and things like that. Brain बहुत ही low level पे आ जाता है, and then they will not be able to face the struggles of life, the challenges of life. So please don't do such things. So but we want to take shortcuts typically. To take shortcuts, we outsource. Either we outsource to toys, or we outsource to gadgets, or we outsource to teachers. Parenting is a very sacred service. Let us do that ourselves. S. M. Mahajano yen gata sapada. That means we have to set a right example. To children, we have to set a right example. It's not enough to tell. We have to show. Telling is not enough. We have to show. So we have to set the right example. So this is also a part of practicing Krishna consciousness. Wherein we set the right example at home. A. Affection. Very important. We have to give love to children. And children should also feel happy coming back to home. Not that they want to always run away from home. And depending on their age, you have to deal with them. And this is another important seminar. I'm just trying to give a glimpse of what are the different aspects of life. And if we do that nicely, our home will become sweet home. Our responsibility. It's a great responsibility on our shoulders to pass on the legacy. Not only to pass on the legacy, but also to make them responsible individuals. Do you know what is the goal of parenting? The goal of parenting is not to make the child happy. Child will be happy eating 10 chocolates a day. Would you give him 10 chocolates a day every day? That's not the goal of parenting. The goal of parenting is two things. To make the child responsible towards what? Towards his or her duties, towards his or her surroundings, towards his or her country, towards his or her family, towards his or her society, towards his or her environment, and so many things. To make the child responsible and to make the child capable to take decisions. How long are you going to be with the child? 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years? But to give them the ability to take decisions on their own, that is successful parenting. So that's a great responsibility on our shoulders. And T, it requires training and education. First of ourselves and then of them. And therefore it's important to keep coming to these classes so that we understand all aspects and dimensions of Krishna consciousness of which the core is our own strength, our own sadhana, our own connectivity to God, which happens in the best and the easiest way by how our connectivity to God happens in the best way? By chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. So when we do this, we become smart parents. So that's also very, very important. If your children are not happy, then this cannot be sweet home. If you are doing one thing nicely, but two things are not nice, then it cannot be sweet home. Things have to be in balance. Then it will be a sweet home. Just like I talked about body, mind and soul, like that. So this culture of Krishna consciousness has come from the spiritual world to the ISKCON temples. Have you gone to ISKCON temple? There is a, which temple they have gone to some temple nearby with us or like separately? They have not yet gone. Okay, but ISKCON, have you heard of ISKCON? So from outside somewhere or through any of us here? Outside. Achha, so here they don't know about ISKCON that way properly. See, because, okay, let me just quickly clarify this. From outside, if you see ISKCON, you will get some understanding of ISKCON. You may think, oh, they have a lot of money, they have big temples, okay, this is going on. In fact, in some ISKCON temple, you may see some politics, you may see somebody doing some wrong thing. Anything can happen. Ultimately, it's a hospital, right? So when you see from outside ISKCON, you may get a different view. But when you see ISKCON from inside, when you read Prabhupada books, then you will understand what is ISKCON. What is the full form of ISKCON, you know? International Society for Krishna Consciousness. It's a society. It's not a name of a temple. Yes, temples are needed as like a headquarter. But ultimately, it's a society for Krishna consciousness. It's not about this activity or that activity. It's about the consciousness in which you do those activities. So, we have to have a right understanding of these things. So, actually, if you understand ISKCON in a right spirit, then you would know that this culture of Krishna consciousness has come from the spiritual world to ISKCON. And from ISKCON, it is each one of our responsibility to bring it to our houses. So right now, for example, this is like a ISKCON affiliated program going on in one sense, where the focus is on training and education. So it is our responsibility to now take our mugs and buckets and bottles and fill the water from here and then go to our home and spread the Ganges, the water of the Ganges in our home. You see what I'm trying to say? From a spiritual world, it has come to ISKCON temples. From ISKCON temples to centers like these. And from centers like these, we have to fill our buckets. See, because how far you will go? Where will you go? Better you come nearby. All of you are staying nearby, right? Okay, so you come nearby with your bottles and buckets and with your mugs. You fill your bottles and buckets and you go to your home. Because you come here only once a week typically. Rest 7 days you are in, 7.5 days you are in your home. So you have to then experience and give those things there. So serving each other at home under the purview of devotional service. And this way, when we lead our lives, we will be setting a good example in society. Now, just the last 2-3 slides about little time management. 24 hours is all that we have. Therefore, the crux is regulation. We have to do things in right amount at the right time. We have to divide our day. We should have daily schedule, weekly schedule, monthly schedule, yearly schedule. Then only we will be able to achieve whatever we want to achieve in 24 hours. In general, there is a simple formula which most of us apply. Morning for health, sadhana and swadhyaya. Morning for health. Now, of course, different situations may be different. Somebody may have to go for office early. Somebody may have to cook in the morning. Some adjustments are always possible. But in general, mornings are for health, sadhana and swadhyaya. Daytime is for work, all our duties. Evening for family and children. Night, remember Krishna and sleep. Saturday, Sunday, do household chores. Come to temple or association of devotees like this. Do some services, as I was telling about. And take care of family and children. Like that, if we do things nicely, if we are conscious of our time, if we understand, okay, what are we doing, why are we doing, then we will actually be able to live a nice life. And finally, just a small appeal that instead of being a guest here, I don't know how many of you are guests here and how many of you are ghosts, not ghosts. How many of you are guests here and how many of you are hosts here. But my request is that over a period of time, each one of us should actually become a host. How? By coming to temple regularly. Temple means, like for example, centers like this, taking up some responsibilities, doing some preaching programs or assisting in some preaching programs like this. For example, I believe last year one course was floated, because of which you all came. Probably this year again one new course will be floated, or next year another course will be floated. Now each one of you should also be able to assist in those courses in some way or the other. Then there are some donations or contributions which we all can make. Actually, householders, we earn money. Nobody else earns money. Brahmachari ashram, Grahast ashram, Vanprasth and Sannyas. Out of all four of them, who do you think earns money? Only Grahasthas. And therefore, according to Shastras, Grahasthas have two very important dharma. One is Atithi Seva, because they have home. So they should not use home only for their own selfish purpose. Therefore, they should open the door of their home and invite guests. That's why it was there. And second, दान धर्म, अतिथि सेवा and दान धर्म. गृहस्थों का ये बहुत important धर्म है, because they are earning money. They should not use the money only on themselves. They should also give in charity. So it's an important dharma which each one of us should have. Then celebrating festivals, assisting, hosting some programs at our home. Let's say if somebody needs a venue for conducting a program, you can open the doors of your home saying that, Prabhuji, please conduct a program at my home, and things like that. And then we'll have a very happy, peaceful life. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So what we are going to do now is that we will take some, we have 5 minutes for questions, answers. Okay. So anybody has any questions or comments about anything? If you have, please speak. Yes, Rahul.
So, first of all, I'm very grateful to you for such a thorough presentation. Your PPTs are really out of the world. Since last 20 years, I have been seeing PPT, but very well organized. Yesterday, when we asked a question to Prabhu, that how do I balance? So, Prabhu mentioned that serious spiritual life begins when you sleep early and get up early. But what I understand, and this is very important, we know it since many years, but it becomes very difficult to actually apply it, especially in working scenario and funny job hours. So, means how do I exactly apply this instead of getting up again?
Okay. Did everybody hear his question? His question is that, he asked some senior devotee that, what is very important in spirituality, or how we can make sure that we maintain all principles nicely. And that senior devotee answered that, it's very, very important to sleep early and wake up early. So he's saying that how in today's lifestyle or modern scenario, how we can follow it. So first of all, we have to understand that not everybody's job demands you to sleep late. In general, most people, their job finishes by 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. Otherwise, there would not have been so much traffic on road between 5 to 7. Right? So now so 2-3 things. First of all, we have to understand that not all job would demand you to wake up late in the night. And if that is the case, it's up to our sincerity. What happens is we end up watching a lot of YouTube shorts. We want to sleep at 9, but when we sleep with our mobile. And then when we are watching YouTube shorts in the mobile, one after the other, how many hours can go? 1 or 2 hours can go. How many of you experienced that? Let's say you take your YouTube shorts. Earlier there were videos to 15, 20, 30 minutes long. People don't have that much patience also. Now 5 minutes, 2 minutes shorts. That also, in few seconds we understand what it is and we scroll. And like that 1 or 2 hours go. Right? So first of all, it's about our own mind control. We have to control our mind and we have to understand the seriousness. One person was diagnosed with cancer. And, in fact, sorry, that's another example. Let me give you a real world example of one of my friends, close friends. Several years back, he got a heart attack. He was a little healthy. Till that time, people used to tell him, please wake up, Prabhu, please go to some gym, do some exercise, do some yoga and all that. He did not. He got a heart attack and he somehow survived. And after that, he was ultra serious. So some people require a lot of shaking up. Ultimately, where there is will, there is way. Let's not wait for some shaking up thing happening. Problem is we deprioritize our spiritual life and we prioritize everything else. Right? We are not understanding how death can come anytime. We are not understanding our greatest fortune. We are thinking, okay, if not today, I'll do tomorrow. If not tomorrow, I'll do tomorrow. Please repeat one shloka after me. Kala shepo na kartavyo Shinam ayushane shane Yamasya karuna na asti Kartavyo hari kirtanat Shinam Kala shepo na kartavyo. Don't do time pass. Kala shepo na kartavyo. Don't do time pass. Shinam ayu shane shane. What is happening every moment? Life is reducing. Yamasya karuna nasti. When your time will come, you will not say, Yamaraj or Yamadut just 5 minutes. I just do something. And I did not give these passwords to my wife. Just 5. My son has to go get from school. And nothing. Yamasya karuna nasti. Therefore, kartavyo hari kirtanat. Therefore, let's practice spirituality intensely. Right? Now, Maya is so strong. Maya is so strong that we tend to forget again and again that what is our condition. And that is exactly what was this slide which I skipped over. If you remember, there was a photo in an answer to this question. Let me just quickly talk about that photo. Remember this photo I showed here? There was this man. He was in a forest. Some wild animals chased him. He was running for his life. All of a sudden, he saw a big well. And he jumped into that well to save his life, thinking that the tigers and animals will stay up only. While he was falling down, he saw some wild, hungry snakes down below, poisonous snakes down below. Somehow, to his great fortune, he caught hold of some branch of a tree while he was falling down. Now, imagine his situation. He is hanging with a branch of a tree, about to fall any time. Down, what is there? Snakes ready to kill him and eat him. On the ground, there are all these wild animals who are chasing him. To make things worse, there now big strong elephant has also come, who is shaking this tree. Okay, this elephant in Mahabharata, this comes in Stree Parva of Mahabharata. There it talks about the 6-headed elephant and uska 12 पैर है और 6 मुंह है. I'll talk about what that is. This elephant has 6 heads and 12 legs. Okay, so elephant is shaking the tree. उसके ऊपर भी जो branch है ना जिसपे लटका हुआ है, उसमें एक white mouse है और एक black mouse है. They are eating the branch of the tree. Okay? अभी खत्म नहीं हुआ स्टोरी. यहाँ पे एक हनी वो है बी हाइव, वो मधुमक्खी का छत्ता, उसमें बहुत सारे बीज है चारों तरफ. वो इसको इधर उधर काट रहा है. हाँ? लेकिन वो बी हाइव में थोड़ा सा ड्रॉप्स ऑफ हनी गिर रहा है. तो क्या गिर रहा है? हनी, सम ड्रॉप्स ऑफ हनी. अब ये सब भूल गया और वो अपना हनी लीक कर रहा है. नाउ प्लीज इमेजिन ए सिचुएशन. नीचे साइड में वाइल्ड एनिमल्स और इमीडिएट यहाँ पे एक एलिफेंट अबाउट टू शेक द ट्री इज अबाउट टू फॉल, हैंगिंग. माउस एंड रैट्स आर ईटिंग द ब्रांच. बीज आर कॉन्स्टेंटली टॉर्मेंटिंग हिम. और उसका मेन फोकस ये नहीं कि कैसे बचूं, क्या करूं. वो थोड़ा सा some drops of honey is getting and he is busy licking that honey. Vidur is telling this to Dhritarashtra in Stree Parva of Mahabharata. And you know what? In some Greek and European literatures, the same story comes. Can you imagine what is Vedic culture? वहां पे ऐसा फोटो बनाते हैं. Same thing. This is Vedic culture which is all over the world. It's not that यहाँ पे इंडिया में कोई एक चीज हो रही है या कुछ एक ग्रुप में कुछ एक चीज हो रहा है, आपको बेवकूफ बनाया जा रहा है. These are the realities of life. I'll just take your question, Mataji. Just I'll finish this point. So this is our condition. That अच्छा, by the way, the Shastras tell that ये जो snakes है, they are time. काल सर्प. Time of snake will come and eat you anytime. Okay? ये जो white और black mouse है, rat है, वो है day and night. Day and night, your branch is kind of gradually shaking and going away. जो wild animals है, they are diseases which chase us from the beginning of life all the way till the time we die. तो बहुत दूर से चेस कर रहे थे उसको एनिमल्स, अब ये मरने वाला है, यहाँ तक चेस कर गया. ये जो एलिफेंट है वो है ईयर, साल, वर्ष. 6 माउथ है उसके which are 6 seasons and 12 feet है which are 12 months. ईयर, अगेन टाइम बेसिकली. फिर ये जो बीज है जो उसको ऐसे ऐसा कॉन्स्टेंटली टॉर्मेंट कर रहा है, दे आर हिज डिजायर्स. Because of his desires, he is always under stress or under anxiety or under frustration, under constant tormentation because of unlimited desires which we have. And yet, थोड़ा बहुत कहीं इधर उधर कुछ अगर हैप्पीनेस मिलता है, मे बी यूट्यूब शॉर्ट्स में या पिज्जा खाकर या एक मूवी देखकर, तो वो ले रहा है, उसको रियलिटी नहीं समझ में आ रहा है. दिस इज माया. एंड कृष्णा is just next door waiting to help, and he is not taking Krishna's help. He is not turning his face to Krishna, who is willing to help him and who is willing to take him out of this situation. So, my dear Prabhu, the fact is that this is Maya, that we do not understand the seriousness of Krishna consciousness, we do not understand the urgency of Krishna consciousness, because of which we become loose in our practice. We have to consider the chanting, reading, hearing as our very life. without which we will die. Imagine if you don't have oxygen, what will you do to get oxygen? In COVID times, remember the oxygen cylinders were being black marketed. If you are dying out of oxygen, what will you not do to get oxygen? You will do anything and everything to get oxygen, correct? So similarly, we should see our spiritual practices like that. And therefore, we should do in such a way that it's very intense. Now, so this should be there, whether morning, afternoon, night. Now, ideal time is morning. But now, because of some reason, because of my current job, my meetings are ending at 10:30 or 11, because of which I'm only able to sleep at 12. Okay, so 12 plus 7, 7 hours. I'll wake up at 7, and what do I do now? Right? And then I begged for Krishna, I prayed to Krishna that please change the situation of mine because I'm really serious. And then Krishna will do the needful. The problem is not with job. The problem is not with our lifestyle or schedule. The problem is with our lack of determination and lack of desire. And that is because we are not scared enough. We are not considering this situation strongly enough. Just imagine that you are on your deathbed. Then what Narayana, what job, what coaching, what college? If I am just, and that happens. So many people who die all of a sudden also. Not that only old people die or only diseased people who are having some terminal illness only they die. तो सबको पता ही था, सब घर में invitation भी भेज दिया था, भाई आ जाना 10-15 दिन में जाने वाले हैं. It's not like that, right? And that, I don't know, it will happen to us, right? If we can only imagine that, then we'll be serious about our spiritual life. We'll be serious about our spiritual life. And if we imagine our greatest fortune, which I was talking about, that once we die, I don't know which situation I'll be in, which condition I'll be in. अभी जो मिला है इसको ऐसा पकड़ लो जिससे छूटे ना. Right? Now it does not mean we always keep thinking about our death. That's why I talked about this presentation, wherein there are so many things. And while doing that also nicely, I can make spiritual progress. If I'm chanting nicely. Are you getting this point? If I'm doing my sadhana nicely, of connection with Krishna nicely, then I will do all my other things nicely also. And then by doing other things also, I'm actually making spiritual progress. Are you getting this magic? So this is how we should live life actually. And really, Chanakya Pandit says that spiritual activities we should do in such a way that we will die the next moment. How we should do our spiritual activities? That we will die the next moment. And how we should do our material activities? That we will never die. So that we can do them very nicely. Otherwise, you are starting a business and you are thinking, I'll die. Then why will you start a business? Right? Like that. Yes, Mataji. Does that answer your question to some extent?
Yeah. So I just one last thing there. The verse that you mentioned is Maharaj that reference I take from later. And another verse you mentioned, Anashastra.
Yeah. Yes, Mataji. कौन से? अच्छा, ओके. माताजी का क्वेश्चन सबने सुना कि माताजी लग रहा है ये सब सोच रही है आज. हाँ. यस. 3 पॉइंट है इनके क्वेश्चन के आंसर में. सबको समझ में आ गया वानप्रस्थ का एज क्या होता है? पहली बात तो ये कि आज के जमाने में वन ही नहीं है तो आप वानप्रस्थ क्या लोगे? वानप्रस्थ का मतलब क्या होता है? पहले क्या होता था? ट्रेडिशनल. पहले मैं ट्रेडिशनल अंडरस्टैंडिंग बताता हूँ. ट्रेडिशनल अंडरस्टैंडिंग क्या था कि 0 से 25 साल तक एजुकेशन का एज होता था. उसको फॉर्मूला बोलते हैं लर्न एंड ग्रो. क्या है 0 to 25? लर्न एंड ग्रो. याद रखिए, नोट कर लीजिए, भूलना नहीं. 0 to 25 लर्न एंड ग्रो. 25 to 50 अर्न एंड एंगेज. 25 to 50 पैसा कमाने का टाइम है. 25 to 50 इन जनरल अधिकतर लोग गृहस्थ बनते हैं. ऐसा ब्रह्मचारी वगैरह सन्यासी वगैरह बहुत कम लोग बनते हैं. साधु, सैफरन एंड ऑल दैट. In general, we all become householders. So 25 to 50, earn and engage. That's the time to earn and engage yourself in services, different services for yourself, for society, for family, for spirituality and everything. 50 to 75, detach and attach. क्या है 50 to 75? Detach. किधर से detach? ये पूरा परिवार के मामले, समाज के मामले, पॉलिटिक्स के मामले, ये पूरा भौतिक जगत से डिटैच एंड अटैच किधर? कृष्णा. मोर एंड मोर, मतलब एक्सक्लूसिवली डिटैच एंड अटैच. अब 22 अभी मैं बोलूं मैं डिटैच हो गया अपने वाइफ से, इज इज गुड और बैड? बैड. उधर डिटैच हो गया, कहीं और वाइफ में अटैच हो गया तो प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगा. एक बार कोई पूछा, तो जी शुड वी बी अटैच टू अवर वाइफ और नॉट? बिकॉज वी हैव हर्ड ना दैट वी शुड नॉट बी अटैच्ड, अटैच नहीं होना चाहिए, आसक्ति नहीं होनी चाहिए। तो एक लड़का पूछता है अपनी वाइफ से अटैच होना चाहिए कि नहीं, तो प्रभुजी ने बोला वाइफ से अटैच हो जाओ, नहीं तो किसी दूसरे की वाइफ से अटैच हो जाओगे तो प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगी। तो एनीवे, तो 50 to 75 is detach and attach, and 75 to 100 is pray and prepare. Pray and prepare. Prepare for death. Death is the final exam. तो ये एक वैदिक कल्चर में एक आइडियल स्कीम ऑफ थिंग्स था, जहां पे आप 100 साल जिंदा रहते थे, 25 साल ब्रह्मचारी आश्रम, 25 साल गृहस्थ आश्रम, 25 साल वानप्रस्थ आश्रम, 50 to 75, and then 75 to 100 संन्यास आश्रम. That's what was typical scheme of things. That's how people would do. And वानप्रस्थ आश्रम का मतलब क्या होता था? बच्चे बड़े हो गए हैं, बच्चे जॉब कर रहे हैं, and now they can take care of family matters and all that. And if my wife wants, then I and my wife will now go out to Tirth Yatra, holy places, so that I am not fighting with my daughter-in-law day in and day out. आप समझ गए? ये सब होता था. एंड या और अगर दो चॉइस थी, either husband and wife can go together or wife can stay at home under the protection or shelter of the grown up children, क्योंकि उस समय तक उसके सन्स जो है इतने बड़े हो गए हैं कि अभी माँ का टेक केयर कर लेंगे. ठीक है, ऐसा होता था. ये था वानप्रस्थ आश्रम. एंड द मेल और द फीमेल बोथ टुगेदर, दे वुड बेसिकली स्पेंड मोर टाइम आउटसाइड, गोइंग टू टेम्पल्स, गोइंग टू तीर्थ, होली प्लेसेस, तीर्थ यात्रा एंड ऑल दैट, सो दैट वे दे कैन डिटैच एंड अटैच. अभी आज के सिनेरियो में क्या है? पहली बात तो लोग इतना लेट शादी करते हैं. 35 में आप शादी करोगे, 40 में बच्चा होगा, तो जब आपका दांत गिरेगा, वाल वाइट होगा, तब तो आपका बच्चा लुलु 2 साल का घूम रहा है, क्या करोगे? That's what is the problem. People should marry by 25. If you marry by 25, by 50, आपका लड़का, बड़ा लड़का 25 साल का हो गया. People don't understand the importance of all these things because the train of life is going on. वो आपके लिए नहीं रुकेगा. Train of life is going on. Right time, right thing should happen. आप ready हो, नहीं हो, उससे मतलब नहीं है. Time and tide waits for none. And people are not understanding. In fact, even medically, 30 years का फीमेल के पहले उसका सारा प्रेगनेंसीज खत्म होना चाहिए. I mean, there are so many things which are there, hundreds of things. Therefore, what I am trying to say is, ये जो आज का civilization है ना, each and everything is wrong there. Each and everything is wrong there. हमारा खाना पीना रॉन्ग है, हमारा उठना बैठना रॉन्ग है, हमारा सोना रॉन्ग है, हमारा मैरिज रॉन्ग है, हमारा फैमिली मेंबर्स रॉन्ग है, हम क्या देख रहे हैं वो रॉन्ग है, हम क्या रीड कर रहे हैं वो रॉन्ग है. इसमें ना बॉडी का भला होगा, ना माइंड का भला होगा, ना सोल का भला होगा. It is a fact. And then now people are trying to revive yoga, power yoga, अक्षर योगा. क्यों लोग इस तरफ सोच रहे हैं? That is the reason why people are thinking like that. क्योंकि हमने पहले सोल को छोड़ा और भगवान को छोड़ा. किस लिए? बॉडी के लिए. और बॉडी का क्या फायदा हुआ? नथिंग फायदा हुआ. अब वापस उसको लाने का ऑर्गेनिक, हर्बल, गोइंग बैक टू नेचर, यही करते रहिए. पर यही अगर शुरू से ही हम लोग अच्छे से लाइफ लीड करेंगे विद कृष्णा कॉन्शियस प्रिंसिपल्स, विद व्हाट वैदिक कल्चर टेल्स, एंड इफ वी कीप द सोल इंटैक्ट, इफ वी कीप गॉड इंटैक्ट, देन सोल का तो भला होगा ही होगा, माइंड और बॉडी का भी भला होगा. यही चीज बहुत लोग नहीं समझते हैं. अगर आप स्पिरिचुअलिटी प्रैक्टिस करोगे तो आपका हेल्थ भी बढ़िया हो जाएगा, आपका सोने उठने का समय भी बढ़िया हो जाएगा. एवरीथिंग विल बी फाइन एंड यू विल बी कॉन्शियस ऑफ कृष्णा वॉचिंग यू. यू विल नॉट नीड अ न्यूट्रिशनिस्ट टू जिसको हम खाने का प्लेट का फोटो लेके भेजेंगे हर डे एवरी डे. देयर आर सम दीस डाइट प्रोग्राम्स इन न्यूट्री, अपने आपको फोटो लेके, मील का फोटो लेके भेजना रहता है, राइट? कृष्णा इज वाचिंग मी एवरी टाइम. आई नो व्हाट इज टू बी डन, आई नो व्हाट इज नॉट टू बी डन, राइट? सो एनीवे, कमिंग बैक, तो आज के डेट में पहली बात तो टाइम का गड़बड़ है सब. दूसरी बात की फॉरेस्ट आर नॉट देयर वेयर यू कैन गो एंड स्टे. सेकेंडली, अगर होगा भी तो आप जाओगे तो वहां जंगली जानवर आपको खा जाएंगे. पहले दिन आप करने चले थे डिटैच अटैच, वो जंगली जानवर आपको खा गए, राइट? तो अभी क्या है उसका कंसेप्ट कि अभी इन प्रिंसिपल हम घर में ही रहेंगे, पर एटलीस्ट मेंटली हम थोड़ा थोड़ा डिस्कनेक्ट हो जाएंगे. मेरा बेटा बहू बड़े हो गए हैं, उनको पता है उनको अपना घर कैसे चलाना है. नहीं पता है तो वो भी मेरी ही प्रॉब्लम है, मैंने नहीं सिखाया सही समय पर. अब मैं कुछ नहीं कर सकती. करोगे तो आपको घर से बाहर निकाल देंगे. ये भी एक फैक्ट है. If you interfere too much, and I'm talking to all those who are above 50, 60, whose sons are grown up and married and who have daughter-in-laws at their home, if you interfere too much in their life, thinking that हम उनका भला कर लें, तो आप उस घर में ज्यादा देर रहोगे नहीं. मैं पेपर पे लिख के देता हूँ आपको. बहाने बहुत होंगे पर फैक्ट यही होगा कि वो बगल में आपका एक फ्लैट बना देंगे, आप बगल में रहोगे, ऊपर रहोगे, नीचे रहोगे, पर साथ में नहीं रह पाओगे, बिकॉज दैट्स अ फैक्ट। तो वैदिक कल्चर भी यही बताता है, भाई वो बड़े हो गए हैं, उनको जो सिखाना चाहिए था आपको वो 0 to 25 में सिखाना था, जो उतना सिखा दिए, अब बाकी भगवान का प्रे करिए, जो हो रहा है उसमें बस उनके लिए अवेलेबल रहिए। इफ दे आस्क फॉर गाइडेंस, गिव देम गाइडेंस, डोंट इंटरफेयर। If they ask for guidance, give them guidance. Be detached. Now, be detached not in watching cricket and playing cards, but in trying to make you come closer to Krishna more and more and more. By coming to devotees, by chanting more and more. So that is Vanprastha right now. By doing more services in spirituality like that. So in spirit, we have to take Vanprastha. Those who are more than 50, or if not 50, then at least if we are done with our duties of raising our children and they are settled, so now we should take our focus more and more actively on Krishna. Does that answer your question, Mataji? Okay. Any other question very quickly? Yes, Prabhu.
You work in corporate.
Yes.
You study by doing PhD. When you walk through your daily schedule so that you can get inspired and do more studies.
ये तो थोड़ा अंदर का मामला है. But anyway, that's a good question. So I'm not studying right now. So I did PhD, हो गया मेरा PhD कर दिया. So basically I graduated from IIT Kharagpur in 2004. So 2004 के बाद से I'm working in corporate. Then till 2012 I worked in corporates, Oracle, BMC software and all that. Then 2012 I thought, hey, enough of corporate here. It's not allowing me to practice spirituality nicely the way I want. And plus I like to interact with people. In corporate I was sitting in front of laptop only all day. मतलब देखा जाए तो इंजीनियर किसी काम का आदमी नहीं है. मतलब डॉक्टर कम से कम कुछ कर रहा है लोगों के लिए, यू नो. मे बी सिविल इंजीनियर कुछ कर रहा है, ब्रिज वगैरह बना रहा है, सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर तो पता नहीं क्या कर रहा है. But that's a different matter, right? But so I used to think all that, and I thought, okay, I will join teaching, you know. And then for 4 years I taught in VIT, as Prabhuji was telling, and those were the best years of my life in the sense that I was able to actually influence people, you know. And those students are still in touch with me, and they are very, very grateful for, while teaching computer science subjects, operating systems, algorithms, data structures, I used to somehow or the other also bring in some philosophy of life, which they very much like. That's what a teacher actually should do. But that is too late. It should be done through schooling. Unfortunately, today's teachers are the worst people. You know, either there will be ladies for extra income of house, or there will be those males who could not go anywhere else. That's the unfortunate reality of today's education system. It's government's duty to make sure that the best people are teachers. मतलब उनको इकोनॉमिकली इतना सपोर्ट मिले कि the best people would be the teachers and policy makers. Intelligent people should be at these 2-3 places. You know, governance, policy making and education system. जो अनफॉर्चुनेटली आज गड़बड़ हो रहा है, पर धीरे धीरे ठीक हो जाएगा. अगर हम अच्छा वोट देते रहेंगे तो धीरे ठीक हो जाएगा. बट एनीवे, सो कमिंग बैक टू योर क्वेश्चन, तो उसके बाद फिर उसके बाद क्या हुआ? आई यूज्ड टू टीच फॉर 4 years, 12 to 16. Then somebody told me that if I have to be in college and if I have to keep teaching, then I should do PhD. Then I went to IIT Bombay, did PhD till 2021 or 2021 like that. Then I joined Amazon, which is where I am right now in Bangalore here. So I have seen different kinds of lifestyles, but as I was answering Prabhuji also, that current job may demand anything, but the core intensity, the bottom line should be that if I am not able to do something today, I am eager and hungry to do that tomorrow at least. That desire should not go away, and Krishna will make the needful. He will do the needful. So now, since you have asked for me, I will give you answer. Whichever day I have meetings till 11 o'clock in the night, and I have, what can I do about it now? All I can do is I can pray and I can see that how I can wind up all these things in next 2-3 years. For which I have a strong desire. But whichever